China is quickly becoming the empire that the US once was. I'm going to talk to you today about how China is expanding into all countries around the world. Their investments are getting bigger and more widespread. This is really a factor of economics. It's really geopolitical as well. I'm going to get into some of those things today and keep an eye on what China does. Their decisions are really making big ripples throughout the economy around the world. Let's take a look at this. Vietnam allows anti-China protest over oil rig. So China is expanding not just into other countries in Asia, but all around the world. I'll get into other ones as well. Here they are trying to put up this oil rig, and Vietnam protesters saying no, no, no. But of course, we all know where this ends up. Always the money always pushes past the individuals and their protests. This happens locally here in Toronto. I'm sure it happens in all of your cities as well, where people don't want these big towers. They don't want the oil rigs. And what happens? The lobbyists just push it right through. That's the way our government system works. China signs mega East Africa rail deal. I read this article here. It was talking about how China is basically fronting the money to build this rail to connect different countries, different cities, and this is going to mean basically a big boost for Africa over the long term here, and China wants to be the one to really front that money. And this seems very interesting because previously it would be the British and the American bankers and multinational institutions that were doing this money fronting, and now you have the now it's China, now it's the other emerging economies doing this, particularly China though. And this is going to mean big, big differences for the future. We can see here they're really trying to make friends with every country that the US tends to avoid for different reasons. Chinese resort plans alarms Mexican activists. So they're trying to build this mega resort in the Baja Peninsula, Los Cabos, and basically they're saying that there isn't enough water right now for these people, and you want to build this mega resort that has tens of thousands of rooms, and there simply isn't enough water in this area to support this thing, and they're trying to get it reduced down to a different size of rooms, and they're just saying, look, there isn't enough water. So they're tending to steal the water from the locals that live there, and these poor individuals who have rationed water are going to have to face more droughts, more basically rations on this because of the Chinese influence that's going to come into that area right now. Another one, Chinese investments in the U.S. commercial real estate surges. I've gone into this in other videos and of course in my book as well. But basically, the Chinese are investing major investments in the U.S. now, and this article specifically about commercial real estate. They're really putting their money into the system, and they're trying to build it up for themselves and basically get rich off of the crash that occurred in the U.S. Right here, this is out of my book, The Money GPS, and I'm talking about how there's a massive trade deficit occurring between the US and China, and it has the widest gap of any two countries, and this is obviously going to be a huge problem because when you have that debt, when you're in debt to anyone or any other country or any institution, they control you, and that's what's really frightening to me, is that a country like China will be able to control all of these other countries. You do not want an imbalance in any country. You want it to be relatively even all around the world so there aren't these imbalances, so we don't have to have fear in what's going to happen in the future. I'll continue on quickly. This one is very interesting. Wealthy Chinese snatch up U.S. investor visas. I'll just read this one line briefly. The EB-5 visa program offers visas to foreigners who commit to investing $500,000 or more, creating at least 10 jobs. And basically, the Chinese nationals now account for over 80% of all of these EB-5 visas. So there are mega millions being invested into the U.S. They're being given this program basically as long as they invest the $500,000 and employ the 10 people, they are going to get all of these visas. They're going to be able to do what they want in this country, in the US, and they're going to do the same all around the world. They're investing, as I said, into Vietnam. And in this episode here, I've covered Vietnam, I covered US, I'm covering Africa. They're going into every different country around the world trying to partner up, and where they don't want to necessarily partner, perhaps in the US, they're simply going in with siege, and they're really going to take advantage of all the loopholes and all the systems, and they are doing so very, very rapidly. I want to know your thoughts on this. I also want to make sure that you get onto the Money GPS Insiders. It is totally free. It is an extension of the work I do here and in my book. I hope you get on there. If you want to get on there, just join up at themoneygps.com at the bottom. Fill in your email address, and then you'll get emails from me. I hope to see you there.